Hey guys, it's Malayna and you're watching Maybe Malayna. It's been 7 months since the last time I posted, and today I'm gonna be giving a little bit of a life update and basically like why I took a break. I haven't filmed in quite a while. So obviously if I act a little different in front of the camera, it's just because I'm kind of out of habit. I've been wanting to get back to doing videos for quite a while now, and I just felt like, it wasn't the right time, but now I finally feel like it's the right time, and what better way to start back up on the channel than to catch y'all up on what's been going on and where the heck I've been. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So first of all, I wanted to start off by saying that me taking a break from YouTube wasn't really intentional. It started off that, I did Vlogmas for the first time this past year. And, filming my entire life every single day for December's 31 days, it just kind of wore me out. But not even in the sense of I got tired of filming or I ran out of ideas or anything like that, really. It was just I was literally exhausted because I was working full time, going to school full time, doing homework full time, and doing Vlogmas. So it was just a lot on me, and I barely slept at all the entire month of December. So it was initially just kind of like, okay, I'm tired, I'm trying to catch up on my sleep, like I'm gonna film in a couple days, and a couple more days, and then it basically just got pushed off. And then 2020, it's been a heck of a year, right? First off, I had the flu on my birthday, my 20th birthday. I had the flu, so that really sucked. And it was also the first week of classes for that semester, and so I started off my semester behind. Like, I missed an entire week of classes. And for, I guess, most college students, like, 1 week isn't like that big of a deal. But our classes are 4 hours long and we only meet once a week per class. So it's kind of a big deal for us to miss even just one class. So the third thing happened on March 1st. I had worked a double, and then I was gonna go drive to pick up a friend and we were gonna hang out. On my way over there, it started raining, but not even raining very hard. And I go around this curve, and when I did, I hydroplaned. Dun dun dun. And I had never been in a car accident once in my entire life. So hydroplaning, especially when I was driving, was absolutely terrifying. I was completely alone. It was dark. It was past midnight. And I didn't even know what you're supposed to do when you have a car accident. Like, I'd never been through that before. I was like, do you call the cops, or do you call your insurance company first? So I was like, I'm gonna call my mom. So I called my mom and I was boo-hooing. She told me what to do. The cops took over an hour to show up. Finally, they show up and they called a tow truck to come get my car. And when I hydroplaned, like, just to tell you how bad it was, so I did a full 360 circle, right? So that got me facing back in like the direction that I was driving. And then I did another half circle before I slammed up against a concrete wall, and I ended up facing traffic, but I was just like off like the edge of the road. But yeah, that was the first big thing that happened this year. So I just noticed while I was editing this video that I did not mention that I was completely okay after my car accident. Like, thankfully it hit the passenger side.
And so physically I was fine. Mentally I was distraught. But thankfully I was able to walk away with it without a cut, a scrape, a bruise, no concussions, no anything. So I am very grateful for that. And I just want y'all to know that I am talking about a lot of negative things in this video, and I didn't realize it until I sat down and started editing it. But I am very grateful that things didn't come out any worse, and I am very grateful that things have turned out to be okay. I just the reason I made this video, like I said in the beginning, was to tell you guys why I've been off of YouTube so long, and I don't want to sound ungrateful. So that's just a disclaimer. I am very grateful that things have turned out to be okay.
It ended up totaling my car, and I definitely didn't have the money for a new one. Thankfully, I had full coverage insurance at the time, and so they gave me the money that my car was worth, and then we actually ended up being able to find somebody that could fix it for even less money that the insurance company gave us. And so we ended up getting my car fixed, but this was months down the line. Like, I ended up having to borrow my grandma's car at one point, and I had to get a um rental car. That's what it's called, a rental car. Um so yeah, we ended up figuring things out, but of course in the moment you never know like how things are going to turn out, how things are going to happen, and it was terrifying. And also just the act of having an accident after working a double, I didn't sleep at all. Like, I was exhausted and I still didn't sleep at all that night because I was terrified, and every time I closed my eyes, all I could see was like spinning, and all I could hear was the sound of my own screams and then the sound of like the crash. And so it was like, if this is all I can think of when I'm awake, I don't want to know what is going to happen in my brain when I'm asleep. And then because of that, I went to bed really early the next night. I was home alone, and I went to sleep around 8 p.m. And my roommate was staying the night with a friend or something in like downtown Nashville. And I wake up pretty early the next morning because I had to pee. And I check my phone, and I had literally 30 missed calls from my mom, like 15 text messages from my mom, six or more text messages and missed calls from my roommate. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Why were they calling me so much? And so I called my mom, and I was like, hey, you called 36 times? And she was like, oh my God, thank the Lord. Like, I didn't know what had happened to you. Like, I didn't know if you were okay. And she starts crying, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I was asleep. And she was like, have you not heard? And I was like, heard what? And she said, there was a terrible tornado in Nashville tonight. It completely like ravaged the city. And all I could think about when she said that was my roommate was staying the night downtown. So I almost immediately hung up with her and called him, and he said that, he had to evacuate the building that he was in, and the tornado did end up hitting. I don't know if it hit the building that he had been staying in, but I know that he said that the windows got shattered out from like the air force. Um, and he got relocated to a different building. And also, his car got totaled because the tornado like threw it around and smashed stuff on top of it. And so his car got totaled the very night after my car got totaled. So we were both in very sucky situations.
I also forgot to mention that during this tornado, my roommate's car did get totaled, but he was not in the car. He was in a safe location, and thankfully he was not physically harmed by any of this stuff that was going on. And I feel like I'm kind of like the way that I sound in this video, I sound like I don't know, like I noticed that other people had it so much worse in this tornado, and I'm so grateful that it didn't hit my apartment and that it didn't cause physical harm to my roommate, and for all of the people that did lose family members and possessions and homes and things like that in the tornado. I just want to say I am not by any means degrading or looking down on anything that you went through, and I understand that you did go through a lot, and I am so sorry, and I hope that you were able to rebuild and recuperate and just make it through the things that did happen. um I love you guys and I appreciate you guys, and I hope that everyone is doing well.
Thankfully, I was okay. I have no idea how I was able to sleep through a tornado, but I did. But yeah, it was a big deal, and it was very stressful seeing the city that I live in, the city that I love, being completely torn apart by this tornado. Then on March 15th, I had just finished I just finished my semester at NOC, and I had asked off for like 2 or 3 days on the weekend to go and see my mom. And she lives like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from me. So I go down to see my mom, and I'm thinking it's just a weekend trip. And for the first time in my entire life, I decided to pack light. I was like, I always overpack for everything. I rarely ever even use half the stuff that I bring with me on vacations and to go see my mom. So I was like, I'm just gonna bring the bare minimum. So I get down there, and on the second day, I had tried to call work and be like, hey, can I get like one more day off, or like, can I see if I can trade with somebody, because I really just want to stay and see my mom like another day. And for some reason, they weren't responding to me. They weren't answering my calls. They weren't answering my texts. And so I was like, am I fired because I asked for one more day off? Like, what's going on? I ended up hearing from a friend that also worked with me that they had closed down the restaurant because of the coronavirus. And I was like, what? And she was like, no, apparently it's getting serious. And they closed down the restaurant. And I was like, okay, great. I guess I can stay that one more day with my mom. But then when I tell my mom about the coronavirus, she was like, oh, I really don't want you going back up there. Like Nashville's a lot bigger. There's a lot more people. A lot more people equals a lot more spreading of germs. But I still had school coming up at the time. So I thought I would stay with my mom for the 2 weeks of a break that I had between semesters, and then I'd be going back up to go back to school. And then when school's about to start, I find out that the school has closed down because of coronavirus, and they were switching over to online classes. Our teachers weren't trained on how to do this, nor did any of us know how to do it either. So it was a long process of having to figure out Zoom calls and like actually having to check our emails for once. And like I said, I packed for 2 days, very minimally packed for 2 days to be staying with my mom. Thankfully, I brought my laptop, which was very important. But I didn't bring any of my art supplies. I didn't bring a sketchbook. I didn't bring paint, pens, pencils, markers, anything. Never did I expect that I would be staying for any longer than 2 days. So I ended up having to buy like all new art supplies. So I actually ended up staying at my mom's house for close to 3 months off of 2 days worth of stuff. So I ended up wearing my sister's clothes all the time. I had I think one pair of shoes with me, so I had to wear my sister's shoes. I didn't have my plants with me. Thankfully, my roommate was still here, so thankfully he watered my plants for me, and that was that. I stayed in my hometown for 3 months. Mid quarantine, I decided I can't get my hair cut right now because everything is closed down. And as you know, I had a side shave, and that is not very pretty if you don't get it cut like at least once a month. So I decided, I've had this exact same haircut for 5 years now anyway. I'm 20 years old. Like maybe it's time to try something new anyway. And this would be the perfect time to go ahead and start the ugly phases of growing out my side shave. It's not fully grown out yet, even though it kind of like you can't really tell. Um, I just definitely had a method to growing it out to where it wouldn't be like ugly little fluff. So, if y'all want a video on how I did that, if you think that would be helpful or just you want to know, then I can make a separate video on that. And while I was in my hometown, I'm in a Zoom class one day, and I'm just over here doing my own little thing, trying to pay attention, trying to take notes, that type of thing. And I get a phone call from a friend who lives about 30 minutes from me. And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Oh, are you still in your hometown right now?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Have you talked to Jacob?" And I was like, "No, why?" He said, "Well, you don't know then." I was like, "I don't know what. What are you talking about?" And he told me that my apartment was on fire. And so I start panicking, sweating. I hang up with him and I call my roommate and I'm like, "What the heck is going on?" And he was like, "Oh, you didn't see my Snapchat?" And I was like, "No, I didn't see your Snapchat. I'm in class." And he was like, "Oh, well, the leasing office is burning down." And to give you an idea of how close the fire got to my actual apartment, because it wasn't my apartment, I am currently sitting in my apartment, but the leasing office is right here. There's like a tiny sidewalk between the leasing office and then there's my building. And I was like, "Well, are they getting the fire put out? Like, is everything, like, is it over with? What's happening? Keep me updated." And he was like, "No, they're really struggling to get it out and they really think that it might catch." And I'm like, "I'm in my hometown. I have 2 days worth of my belongings, and my apartment most likely will catch on fire today with all of my stuff in it." I just told him to keep me updated on what's going on. And every update just about was, "Hey, it's getting closer to our building." Finally, they got it under control. It was pretty early in the morning when it started, and it was like almost dark when it got put out. So it ravished and took away the entire leasing office building, but thankfully it never caught over to my building. So that's something I'm very grateful for, but still in the moment was so stressful. And like I said earlier with the car accident thing, you never know in a situation how something is going to turn out. Last but not least, the reason that I decided that now is the right time for me to go ahead and hop back on YouTube is because, drumroll please, my roommate decided he wanted to move out and I couldn't find a new roommate. So then I start looking at one bedroom apartments around me and seeing if I can find anything that I can afford on my own, and can't find anything that is within my budget. So I put in my notice actually today for this apartment, and I kind of have no other option than to move back in with my mom at this point. When this was first brought up as an option, I was very turned off to the idea. I kind of got mad at my mom for even suggesting it. I was like, you know, I love you and there's nothing against you, but like, why would I move an hour and a half away from my school, an hour and a half away from my friends? Like, it's just, that's not ideal, you know? But then, as it became obvious that it was my only option, I took that offer. I will still be going to school. School is an hour and a half away from my mom's house, but I only have school 2 days a week. So I'll be driving up here back and forth for 2 days a week. I'm planning on getting a job in my hometown so I can save up a bunch of money so that whenever I do find a roommate, I will be financially stable and ready, and there will be nothing to hold me back. And what's made me think of this as a positive thing instead of a negative thing is that I have had such a whirlwind of a year, and so has everyone. So, and obviously, like, tensions are on the rise, and I have had so much stress, so much anxiety that it's been really hard to handle. So I feel like it's going to be a very positive thing for me, like mentally, to be able to go back to my mom's. I won't have anywhere near as many bills or as many responsibilities, and I hopefully will feel less stressed and be able to focus on myself and focus on what I love, which is my art and my YouTube, and just kind of like rebalance, I guess, recalibrate. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing for me. Plus, I'm going to get to spend so much more time with my family, and that's something that I haven't been able to do very much the past 2 years since I moved up here for school. So I think it's going to be a good thing. That is the big thing that I was building up to in this video. And the reason, I'm sorry, I keep pointing with my Starbucks. And the reason that I felt like now is the best time to go ahead and start back up on my channel, because I would hate to move and you guys not even have a clue. So I'm definitely gonna be doing a moving vlog and lots of packing vlogs, and maybe even like some packing tips and tricks. I don't know if I'm gonna even have any of those really, because I haven't done this a lot of times. Comment down below any other video ideas that you have that you would want to see on my channel coming up. I am going to be filming a Q&A, and if it's not already filmed by the time this is posted, then comment down below and leave me some questions to answer in it. It can be about any of the subjects that I talked about today, or even things that are completely unrelated. Just ask me anything, really. I'm open to talking about anything. So that's basically it. That's all that I have for this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you're glad that I am back, and I will be seeing you guys very soon. I love you guys so much, and I will see you all later. Bye, guys.